Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good, not too bad.
Yeah, it's cooled down a bit now, hasn't it, from
Yeah,
earlier?
exactly. I think was it the last one when it was the last one when I was moving,
I think
just
you were
before I moved.
moving and I had an incredibly shiny face on the podcast. Like,
So
I
hot.
dipped my head in oil or something. Um, I think it was moisturiser, to be fair, and not sweat. So what I think our plan is that when we haven't got a specific topic, we were going to sort of spring something on the other one to talk
Mhm.
about. And I spoke to you earlier about what my topic was going to be, which I
Yeah.
thought for me, I was thinking, when I think back to spirituality, where does it kind of stem? Where does your interest stem from? And I know that when I was a child, I absolutely loved hearing about ghost stories. So
Me
anyone
too.
that had ghost story to tell, books, anything like that, absolutely loved it. Spooky, films. So I thought that would be quite a good place to start, sort of back to, you know, the basics.
Yeah, I'm
And
excited.
I've never actually asked you, we've never ever spoken about this. So I suppose, yeah, what I'd want to know is, do you believe in ghosts? Have you had any experiences yourself, or do you know anyone that has that you trust? You know, some people say it and you think, but then
Yeah, yeah,
others
yeah.
say it and you think, oh, okay, you take it more seriously.
Mhm.
And yeah, so if you do believe in them, why?
I definitely do, and I feel like I always have done, even as a kid. I've or
Really?
just been fascinated in it. I've always like sensed something, if that makes sense. But obviously, when you're a kid, you just think, I don't know what I thought. It's more of like a fear, maybe, isn't it? Because you think,
Mm,
oh,
yeah.
um, but I've always sensed something. And now as I get older, it's like, oh, I kind of believe that there is stuff that we can't see. And like when you're I don't know, if you're by yourself and you get that feeling, can't
Mm,
really describe it, that like something's there.
yeah.
Um, I suppose I've always had that even as a kid. And I just have this one memory, and I don't know how old, I must have been about 10. I'm just thinking, or younger, maybe younger than that. But I remember being in my bed, and something made me look out the window, and as I looked out the window, and I always remember it, it was like, because it was like really shocking, but then it was one of those things, it was like, oh, it must have been my eyes or whatever. But I looked out the window and I saw this, like, it was like this white, not cloud. Oh my God, that's really weird. I literally just looked down to be like, what can I?
What a pro you did I didn't know we were bringing
I've
props,
literally
Lauren.
just got the random stuff, and it definitely wasn't. Here's one I made earlier. I literally did not plan that. I've just got like random kitchen round. Someone's screwed this up and left it on the table. That's so weird. I was like, kind of like a cloud, like a little floating, and I literally looked down, and that was on the table. But this is exactly basically it was
What it
like in the
was.
air, like almost like this like little cloud about this big, and it was like floating through the air. And I remember kind of like looking like this, and it kind of just like went into the house, but it would have been like, like there was my window, and I was looking out to the garden, and then my mum's window, and it kind of just like went in the house. But it was one of those things you're like, oh. And obviously I was just a
Mm,
kid, but I was like, what
yeah,
was that? And then you just move on, don't you?
yeah, you
But
forget about it.
it was like such a strong memory because it was so weird that
Yeah.
it stuck with me. Um, so it's that. I've never really seen anything else, but definitely like sensed it. And I also used to
Mhm.
get I've always, not so much now in my adult years, but I used to have quite bad sleep paralysis even as a kid, which is obviously the scarier side of it. If anyone's had have you had sleep
God.
paralysis?
No, but I know you told me about it. When you've had it,
Oof.
it sounds awful.
It's like when your body, as you fall asleep, obviously your body goes into paralysis anyway to stop you acting out your dreams. That's just like a natural thing. But they say sleep paralysis is like when that mechanism goes a bit wrong. So you're just about to fall asleep, but as your body goes into that paralysis, but your mind stays awake.
Oh.
But it's actually just quite a scary thing, and it almost feels like you can sense things in the room. It's actually, well, quite a negative feeling.
Mm. Can you
Um,
open your eyes, or you can't open your eyes either?
It feels like so sometimes it would feel like I could see everything in the room. I don't know whether my eyes actually were awake or asleep, and you can just sense and hear things. So there's been times I've had it, especially when I was a teenager, that I could hear my mum having a conversation. So
Mm,
my mind's awake and that conversation did happen, or I could hear a hoovering or whatever. Like, when you're a
mm.
teenager and you're like in bed till, that would always be like too late in the morning. And
But you
it'd be
couldn't
those
move.
kind of times, and you could hear what's going on, but then it also feels like you can sense that there's something in the room. And it used to be really, really terrifying. So I've always
Oh
kind of
gosh.
had that, which has stopped as more as I've got older. But I remember having that as a small child in that same room. So I'd wake up. God, this has gone a bit dark. It was meant to be. But anyone that's had sleep paralysis will know. But this is like as a small child, I woke up and there was like a shadowy figure at the bottom of the bed.
Oh my
But I've got all
God.
these memories. So, and I don't know, is that a ghost? Depends what you think of a ghost. But yeah, I definitely believe that there is much more that we don't see. I believe in mediums that communicate and stuff like that. So yes, but I haven't actually seen another ghost.
Right.
But I was at my mum's earlier, picking up my girls, and I was just saying to her that we were going to be doing this podcast today, and she was like, "Oh well, I've seen a ghost," and I was like, "Hold that thought. Would you do a voice note to tell the story?" And it's only 2.5 minutes.
Oh God. So did you know
But
that she'd seen a ghost before?
I
Did
kind
you
of half
told you?
remember this story, but I suppose you kind of
Right.
forget until she was saying it. She was like, "Oh yeah, I'll do a voice note." So thanks, Mum.
Oh, she's brilliant.
But should I play it? I'm
Yeah,
hoping this
yeah.
because I literally just sent a voice note to myself. Let me turn it up. Right, where's the speakers in this thing? Let me just make sure I'm getting it to the best. Where's the speakers in a Mac? I'm sure if I just play it, let's make sure you can hear this. Hold on. Okay, so I'm just at my mum's and I've hold on. We're on triple speed. Hold on. Okay, so I'm just at my mum's. Can you hear that? Said that we are doing this podcast on whether or not
Is that you?
and ghosts, and they have just said that they have a ghost experience. So I said, save it for the voice note, when I can play it during the podcast. So, hello, Mum.
Hello.
So where were you?
Many years ago, my husband John and I went to Dover Castle because I'm more interested in history, and we went down through the wartime tunnels. So we were being led down the tunnels, all through the tunnels, listening to the guide who was taking us round. And because I'm so slow, John and I were at the very end of a group of about 15 people. And we went to walk into one of the wartime rooms when John and I, down the bottom of a long corridor, looked to our left and we saw down there a man in an RAF uniform lighting up a cigarette. Now, we both didn't think anything of it.
Did you think it was an actor or something?
No, we didn't. We didn't think anything of it, but we both stepped into the room. But then at the same time, we both thought that was odd. We stepped back out and he wasn't there. But at the end of the tunnel where he was, there was no door for him to have got out of. And we just thought it was very strange because there was no smoking in the tunnel.
And there weren't any actors or anything down there?
No, it's not like Tully's Fun or anything.
So you don't believe in ghosts? But do you do you believe now?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And it was very, very odd the way we stepped forward and then thought, and stepped back and he gone. Yeah. And he was in the lovely blue RAF uniform. And he was about, 15 feet down a side corridor.
Very spooky. Very
And
spooky.
he lit a cigarette and we just walked forward and thought, that's odd. Both stepped back again and he'd gone.
Wow.
So
Spooky. So it's Dover Castle for anyone that wants to go ghost hunting.
down in the water tunnels.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I'm going to play this on the podcast.
You're welcome.
But yeah, I remember her saying that story, which
fact
is
that
that I
they
don't know why I
both
thought they'd-
saw it?
Say that again?
Sorry, there's a bit of a lag. The fact that they both saw the same thing,
Yes.
it's even like more,
But that's why I thought like, oh, maybe there's actors or whatever. She was like, no, it wasn't like after she was like, no, it wasn't like an
No, they would have
experience.
known,
And also that he was down a tunnel where there was no exit and they literally stepped forward and then stepped back because they were like, what was that? So how strange. And they
Yeah.
both saw it.
we need to get there.
Yeah. So maybe we should go. But I would be actually up for going. I've been on a couple of like, I went to London Bridge. What is it underneath? what's that called? London Dungeon. It's like where the London Dungeon
Yes.
is,
Yeah,
and all
yeah,
under there, they did like a
yeah.
nighttime ghost hunting thing. So you're there from like 10 p.m. till 4 a.m.
Mm,
And you go all around, which was quite cool.
yeah,
So I love anything like that, but I'm yet to have like a real kind of
yeah,
profound experience myself, not
yeah,
like that.
yeah, yeah,
What
yeah.
about you?
Yeah. No, to be honest, I haven't. I've always thought, I've always been open to it, but I've kind of been a bit like, you hear stories and you sort of, I've always thought, until I see it myself, I'm not
Yeah.
sure, but I'm definitely open to it and think there's a possibility. The only thing that I had happen to me was when me and my husband moved into our first flat, we found out that and this was like 20 something years ago. Um, we found out that the reason the flat had become available was because the man had died and didn't really think anything of it. And there was just a few things in there. We had like my husband didn't feel anything. I don't think he even if he did, he wouldn't, sort of
Yeah.
admit it. I think. We had like this really, really long landing, like a hallway. It was quite a long flat. And every now and then I'd walk down it and just feel that like,
Yeah,
oh,
that feeling.
just had this feeling, and it really wasn't on my mind. I wasn't thinking about. I was young. I wasn't interested in. It wasn't sort of anything. It was just a weird, and it was just It wasn't all the time. So I had that, and then I had this other time when I came out of the bedroom and I walked into the landing, and it was like I walked into a brick wall, and I just sort of fell to the
What?
floor.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but the only thing with that was that I wasn't feeling very well. So I had some sort of like virus or bug, I can't remember. So I always was a bit like, oh, did I just sort of faint or collapse or something? But it was weird. It was sort of like smack, and I just thingied. And then the most thing, oh, and then my son was having,
That's really mad. But like
yeah.
they say sometimes like a fever can make you more susceptible to stuff like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm
Oh, didn't know
sure.
that.
Because that's like when people have a fever, they like hallucinate and stuff, but it's
Oh,
like,
yeah,
no.
that's true. I've had that, yeah, but I didn't realise it made, yeah. Oh, okay. So yeah, my son, who was really young at the time, he was having dreams about a man and a dog. And I remember him being like on his bed, like trying to get this dog off of his bed. And I feel like I did speak to the neighbours and they said he had a dog, but I don't know if I've almost made that up over the years just to,
Yeah.
I just, you question everything. You're like, did I add that bit in to make it a bit more, juicy? And the main thing that ever happened, which wasn't even a huge thing, but I just remember exactly where I was. I remember I was sitting on this purple sofa that I had, this big purple sofa, Kelly in the corner, and I was watching Loose Women, and I was completely engrossed in, what was going on. I wasn't thinking about a ghost or anything. And I just, 1 minute it was sitting there fine, and then I just felt this, it wasn't like a horrible feeling, like scary, but it was like somebody very close, I'd say within 1.5 meters, 2 meters, was just staring at me. And I knew there was nothing there because it was in my living room, kind of just to the side
Yeah.
of me. But I could tell that it was just, and I just remember
There was
sitting there
something there.
thinking, if I didn't need to look. You could see if there was a body there. It was literally, my side eye. But I just remember sitting there froze, kind of thinking, I didn't feel threatened or like it was awful. I always remember thinking it was a he. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's just because they said it was a man that had lived there, but I just felt that it was a he. But I just remember sitting there sort of thinking, oh my God, I felt so uncomfortable. And I just wanted it to stop, and I just sat there kind of looking at the telly but not taking what was, and eventually it went. I can't remember how long it went on for, probably not very long, but that was the one thing that really, where I was just like, oh, that was really all. It was just this feeling, didn't see anything, there was absolutely nothing there, unless
It's
there was a
like though,
shadow. I don't know, but I just,
when if a person is close to you, you can
yeah.
sense it, can't you? Without
And
looking.
yeah, and they do say that if someone's looking at you, if they're looking at you in your eyes, you will sense it. So sometimes that's why you'll catch someone like
Yeah.
out in public or in a restaurant or something. You might just look over and it's because they're looking at you. Apparently, you
Yeah.
can sense it if someone's looking at you like at your eyeballs. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, but you do. I have had that before where someone's behind you, but you just get that feeling to turn around because you
Yeah.
know
exactly.
Ooh,
Yeah.
but that
So
is what I believe. I believe that there's just things we can't see. There's,
yeah.
I just feel that that's true. And
Mm,
it's also like, why would you have that? Like, I had a lot of that when I was a kid, that feeling.
mm,
Why would you have that? When you're a kid, you've not watched all the, because I sometimes think, oh, a scary feeling. It's all these horror films that I've racked up over the years. But when you're a kid, you don't have that.
no, no. The
So,
only thing that's made me question it more is obviously we did the plant ceremony, the
mhm,
ayahuasca, which is on another podcast.
yeah, I have to
Um,
go back and listen to that.
yeah. But what's made me question it is I can't quite figure it out because I'm like, if we're souls, this is what we talk about a lot, and I think we've kind of got the same understanding of what we think is happening here. So your
Yeah.
souls that are up
What
there,
is going on here?
yeah, and that you get sent down to earth, you learn your lessons in life. This is for another podcast, I guess, but that's kind of
Mhm.
what we sort of talk about a lot, kind of thing, because that's, I guess, what the ayahuasca has shown us is that sort of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I guess why I'm questioning it is because if that's true and you're a soul up there, you come down to learn your lessons, and then when you die, you go back up. I'm like, well, why is there potentially ghosts? Are they stuck in some sort of no man's land? So it's made me question quite a few things like that where I'm like, well, why would they be here? Is if there's no such thing as good or bad because you're here to learn a lesson, and once you go back up it's there's, do you see what I mean?
I kind of see it as more they're not here like we're here in these bodies. And when we leave, my view is your consciousness is leaving, which is all around, which can travel, right? So maybe it's just consciousness. They're able to, I don't know, that
No.
their consciousness there is able to come here, but it's not like physically here. But maybe they're
Mm,
just like floating around, and everything is, like we always say, everything is energy, right? So maybe it's just weird, denser. Does that make any sense? So
is
then
that
they
English?
kind of like float down and be here. Who knows? But maybe you'll just we'll know one day, and we'll be able to maybe travel between, or maybe they're just always here. It's just,
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I was just like, if it was, for instance, in my flat, this guy that I'd never met, I don't know, why was he hanging
Maybe
around?
just coming back to see his old house.
Yeah.
Maybe not hanging around. Maybe just like, oh, I might pop to see that today, and you just
Yeah.
let's go see where I used to live. Oh, who's this woman watching
Yeah.
Loose Women?
Yeah. 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 I'd love to find out. We need to find
We need
somebody.
to do more, yeah,
Go
because
to
I sometimes
expert.
listen to podcasts, and that was me really, really badly explaining. When these people talk so intelligently about all the different like planes of consciousness, I don't know, all the different dimensions and stuff. And I listen to
Yeah.
this stuff and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense to me. That makes so
Mm,
much sense.
mm,
But then I try and explain it, and it's like, yeah, no, I haven't got it. So I think we should get someone
mm.
on to like
Yeah.
kind of, but there's
Explain it
just so
properly.
many different theories, and the thing is, we just don't know.
None of
I think
us know, really.
we're not meant to know, but we can
Mm,
just, I don't know, just believe what we can through our
mm.
experiences. But I
Yeah.
definitely, I mean, would you believe? I obviously reckon there's some frauds out there, but I definitely believe in mediums and mediumship and stuff.
Mm. Yeah, I had, I mean, this, I guess, isn't ghosts as such, but when I was about 11, me and my friend walked past this little spiritual church, which is still there actually.
Oh,
And we went in and had to pay £5. And this man basically held our hands. We took it in turns, and he put it on a cassette as well. And he, spoke to us. So he did my friend, and he said, I can't even remember, obviously, I wasn't probably that interested. But when he did mine, it was the usual, you need to try. And I was quite streetwise, and I was kind of a bit like, yeah, like, I was
right,
probably
mate.
about 12 actually. I think I was in the first year. Yeah, I think I was about 12, 13. But he was saying, you need to do better at school. You started hanging around with boys, bit too, all the usual stuff. And he said that he was speaking to somebody Irish, and I didn't know if we had any Irish, and And I don't know, I might have already told you this story because I tell everyone this story and they always question it and think it's nonsense. But basically, the night before, me and my friend had dyed our hair, and she would remember this, I'm sure. And we used like, is it herbal essence or something like that? So it was
Oh,
like
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
herbally thing, and I dyed my hair brown, and it absolutely stunk. Like it absolutely just had this like herbally,
Mhm.
natural smell. It wasn't chemicals. It was like,
Oh, well, that
and
henna, like the henna
yeah, it was that.
hair
Yeah,
stuff. I remember that.
it was
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it absolutely stunk, and we were laughing about it and joking. And she said something silly like, "Oh, you smell like you've got a cow pat on your head," or something like that. Washed it out. It was all lovely. Conditioned it. Next day, went to this thing. So he's holding my hand, saying, you need to do better at school. You've started hanging around with boys, blah blah blah, all this stuff. And then he was a bit like, "Oh, almost a bit like, this is a bit of a weird one, but I'm being told something about your head smells. You've got like, and I don't want to make it up. I don't want to put words in this guy's mouth, but it was basically along the lines of like, there's something with your head smelling, and people say to me, maybe your hair still smell. And I was like, it absolutely didn't. He wouldn't have said that anyway, but
Yeah,
he
he
was
wouldn't
kind
have
of going,
known that was your hair. It's like a guy's not really gonna be like, "Oh, that must be the hair dye that's,"
yeah,
like,
he'd just probably be polite and not say anything anyway. So
yeah.
people always say it to me, and I just remember me and my friend like looking at each other, gasping, and then just sort of like laughing because we were just young and silly, but we
Yeah.
were like roaring, like, "Oh my God," and I'll never
Yeah.
ever forget that. And I think they still do stuff like that. And then I found out that
We should go maybe if they're still
yeah,
there.
yeah. I know someone whose dad used to go there, and she said that there was like a famous guy that used to go. I don't know, it's and anyway. So I know that's not really like ghost related, that's more sort of
Yeah.
contacting that. And then I think I found out that we did have Irish in our family, but who doesn't? I
Wow.
mean, it's sort of, so
But then some
um,
mediums do see, don't they? They
mm,
see, who's that guy, that book we read, the Glasgow guy?
oh, the angel guy.
Yeah.
Carl
Angels
someone.
are with you now
Carl
or
Gray?
something. Ca Carl Gray? Yeah,
Carl
something
someone?
Gray. Kyle Gray.
Kyle, that's it.
But that's a really good book, and he was saying he actually sees angels with people as they're, like,
Oh,
walking and stuff.
really?
Amazing. So I think I really believe that different people have different gifts and,
Yeah.
um yeah, I think were you weren't with me, that spiritual event. Well, you came, but I don't think you were there for one of the mediums that was there, were you? I
No.
think it was at, the South of England Showground, that one, but there was like, there was all the workshops on at that spiritual day.
Yeah, the only one I saw, I think, was is it Akashic Records? I never
Oh,
know how to
Akashic
say it.
Records, yeah, the
Yeah,
lady.
yeah. And then you lost me at the drumming one. That's when I made my exit. Although
So it's
now
basically
that
a
I've
day
done,
full of workshops, but I reckon now
yeah,
you'd be there for the whole day.
literally wouldn't leave. I wouldn't leave.
Yeah.
Um,
But there was
yeah,
one lady there, and I'd have to find out her name because I always think, I could think about her, and I'm like, I'd love to maybe we'll get a reading from her or something. Maybe she'd come on here.
yeah.
But she was amazing. She was an evidential medium. And again, this has kind of gone off the topic of seeing ghosts, but the way she was giving her reading, and some things didn't come up. She was like, "Is someone in here?" And people weren't putting up their hand. But the way she was describing everything, she's like, "I've got a guy." And she was like really, really giving details about like this little house with a log burner and da 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 da. And it was like, she was like, he's not going to go until someone, it wasn't just,
Yeah.
sometimes it's quite general, like, oh, we went to one once and the guy was talking to my sister and didn't realise that my mum was sat like, there was an aisle and she was sat across the aisle, and the guy was like, is your mum still, we've got a mum here, is mum still with us? And mum was like, yeah, I'm right here. But he was just clutching at straws a bit, and then was talking to my mum and was like, oh, I've got a male here in a soldier's uniform. And it's like, well, with the war, and you're looking at my mum's age, and then she's probably
Yeah.
going to have a dad that was in the war, that kind of thing kind
Yeah.
of puts
Yeah.
me off. But this woman was it was tiny little details that are just quite interesting.
Oh, we have to find out.
Yeah, I will try and find out. God, we said this one was going to be short again. We were like, yeah, probably 15 minutes this time, just a quick.
We'll be talking about something else in a minute, like witchcraft or
Yeah.
stop us. But yeah, no. Oh, well, that's interesting because I've never asked. Yeah, I mean, I thought
Yeah.
you probably would believe in ghosts, but I didn't know
Yeah,
if you'd
believe it
ever
all now.
had
I
any,
believe anything, I think, at this point.
yeah,
Just doesn't
yeah.
shock me anymore.
No, no, no,
Um,
no.
but
No,
this is
so
quite a good format, I think. So yeah, maybe next time I will
mm,
come with a topic for you and we could
yeah,
yap away
yeah,
about any of this for hours. But
yeah. Brilliant. Cool. Right.
alrighty.
Until next time.
Yeah. See you later.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.